Hey, what's up you guys? This is Junior Trader, and in this video we are taking a look at AMD stock and what possibly we may see during the earnings, the price action, how to prepare for it, all that good stuff. Before going further, as always, none of this is any financial advice, only for education purposes, just sharing my opinion. Please do your own thing. So AMD stock has its earnings this week. That is on 3rd of February. So that's on Tuesday after the market close. We do have right now the price action on the multi-day weakness below this zone of 248. However, overall on AMD, we are not bearish overall. Yes, it is in the little bit of the weakness below 248, but overall we are technically still not like as in we're gonna crash on AMD. 238 below, definitely we have more weakness. Now this is something I have told my members on Patreon as well, that 238 is the zone which we have closed below right now. But until this zone, this is step of the ways, right? Take partial profits at 248 and then below that 238, because we have lost technically we have lost the momentum structure. We are no longer like directionally strengthful in the momentum anymore below 248. But overall, as in if we're gonna continue to just collapse from here, that's not what AMD is telling us. So far AMD has done a classic double top here. All right, and we do have some news that has come up over the last trading day about some chip delay and all, which is more put as a rumor. And that's usually, whenever price falls, media usually puts out the negative news because they are in the business of making sense of the market, which is always after the fact that they do. So there is always that gray area that you don't really want to rely on them in that way, because they put out the news after the price has moved in that way, and they support their news based off of the price action. It's not the other way around. So yeah. Anyways, point is that how do we trade or get through the earnings? So I look, until Tuesday, I don't think AMD will do much. It all comes down to now the earnings. And let's talk about first what to do before Tuesday, though, if you are trading technically. As I said, we are in the multi-day weakness below 248. For tomorrow, let's say if we get above 238 to $240, there is a rebound possibility until 247 or 248, but that's just for a day. Don't go much beyond that. You will have to see AMD get above 248, but by the time earnings would come, so I want to talk about the earnings scenario in just a moment. And or excuse me, if we stay below 240 for the day as well, let's say on Monday, we do have a room to fall to 227 at this point. So, but that being said, that's just for a day right now, because more importantly, it all comes down to the earnings. As I always say, no one knows what's going to happen through the earnings. You have to, if you are in a profit, in a position, take partial profits or exit a position in a way that is not going to eat away from your profit if the position goes against you. Or if you want to still trade it, have some position, then do it in a way that either it's not going to eat away from your the overall profits, and or you have a risk tolerance of drawdown whatever you are doing with. Otherwise, just don't have any position, let the technicals happen, and then after the earnings make a decision based on the technicals, right? Now if after earnings AMD gaps up above this zone of 260 area to 266, that's a clean breakout on this thing, and then we'll be looking at new highs on this thing. Let's get to the weekly interval, because I do want to put that together with one of an important trend line that I may have shown you before as well. But this is where it's hitting that the top line of that. But if it gaps up above 267, we may test 279, but just be prepared, we may do some sell off there as well for a day or so. The point is that as if it can close post earnings above 266, technically we are on an upside trajectory. These trend lines you have to take as a reference. Don't take it as a ceiling and guaranteed we're gonna continue lower. No, we have to see the structure, because these trend lines can be breached. Okay, trend lines are always for the reference. Levels are the most important ones that you have to look at. Now, because yeah, so anyhow, the point is that structure will remain bullish and will overall stay bullish above 266. No brainer, above 266 AMD will continue up regardless. Okay. And as if we gap down, where will the problem be? Now, I don't consider this would happen, but if AMD gaps below 197, that's a big problem. I don't think that will happen, but stocks have been reacting very wildly in these earnings, either really gap down or really gap up. Not across the board, but still, which is what happens during the earnings. As if AMD gaps below 227, and that's where at least that's also a point where structure will much more become negative on AMD for coming days and weeks. We may be then again testing 197. That's also a break of a sentiment on AMD, I would say, if we lose 227. All right, if AMD stays just, let's get rid of that one, that served our purpose already. If AMD just stays in this range, if it breaks out above 247 but stays above up there, and but doesn't break above 264, it's still technically in the bullish territory. If AMD just stays sideways here, then it's all about, you have to still stay with the technical plan, as what I just said early on, that for a day would be, you'll have to use the same principle is what I'm saying, is you'll still have to let it get above 248 for a strengthful upside momentum again. Otherwise, it's just going to a little bit go sideways, and which is possible, like Tesla did that, right? And so yeah, that would be that. So I'm not too worried right now on AMD on the overall bearishness until and unless it loses 197 and 60 cents. If AMD does that, then only I'm overall worried on AMD. Okay. Yeah, but even below 227, it's not that it's buy here, no, it's still in the weakness, but it's the thing is that it has a room to eventually stabilize. That's what I'm saying. The only sentiment break is below 197, where 197 to 198, where it's like an endless collapse, the one that we were in over here, right over here, right? That was so painful, right? But we caught the bottom. If you're a member on my Patreon, we caught the bottom. That's why that blue box is sitting there. And I'm not removing that blue box because that's my bragging rights, right? So that we caught the bottom, and then two levels of, first was a rebound play and then add on to the bullish plan. Oh boy, what money we made. That was awesome. Anyhow, yeah, so that's how you will have to look AMD going in this week. Definitely at this point I would suggest let the earnings happen before, if you want to play any big position on AMD. But as if I said, if you are still wanting to take the risk, take the risk in a way that suits you, as I explained early on in this video. Now I want to go over a couple of articles here. So AMD stock plunges 6% on AI chip delay rumors. As I said, don't focus too much on these news. They would show up after the price has made the move. AMD fell about 6% Friday after a report claimed potential production hiccups for its upcoming MI450 AI accelerators. Now, this thing, this news may not have shown up if price would have gone up. They would have shown you a news that would have supported something that price has moved. That's why you got to be very careful about these things. Wells Fargo quickly weighed in, saying the report overstates the issue. Analysts confirmed AMD MI450 production is progressing as planned on TSMC's. So if everything is fine, why didn't the stock come back up, right? So you get my point, right? There are so many conflicting arguments. Anyhow, let's get to the, it's just some big player is selling off, guys, okay? Yeah, so how either they're manipulating the market or whatnot, but the point is that we were in the close vicinity of the double top already, and it's just a break of a structure, which also then led to many other traders step into that break of the structure to play the short for the day, right? So now let's get to this AMD price target maintained with $345 per share by Wells Fargo. So they first, I think they have their vested interest in this stock because they first refuted that report, and then also they came back and maintained their price target of 345. So they definitely have a position in this, seems like. 345 is quite high up. Like, that's technically possible if AMD breaks out above after earnings 266. If AMD can do it, then yeah, well, technically it's in that direction. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but AMD has to really break out above that area after the earnings. 266 area. All right, guys. Well, that's all I had for you in this particular video. And with that, please hit the like, subscribe if you found it helpful and valuable. And I'll see you in my next videos. Take care. Bye.